Hey everyone, so it's chilly out and I'm outside because I wanted to get some fresh air. So I had my spooky ghost blanket. Yay. Anyways, got my Mario cup with Mario disappearing. And I am going to do a movie wrap up for you guys. So much like last week, well, it's Monday, so I guess much like the week before last, I only watched 2 movies. I keep wanting to get to watching more, but I just don't, usually because I'm tired, and one of the movies that I watched was like 2 hours long, so I think I did okay. So, like last time, I watched both of these on Disney Plus. So the first movie I'm going to talk about, I finally watched Hocus Pocus 2. I wanted to see this movie, but it was just never high up on my list. I really enjoyed the original, and I haven't really heard anything negative about this movie, this sequel. But I also didn't hear like a lot about it. Like, I knew it existed, but I just didn't see people going crazy for it. So I seen it on Disney Plus. I'm like, well, I want to watch more than one movie this week, and I haven't seen this yet. I enjoyed the original, so let's give this one a chance. And it's okay. It wouldn't be like the first thing I would reach for a movie, especially if we were talking about movies to watch for like the Halloween season or something, spooky movies, fall, stuff like that. It was a fun movie and it had its moments, but like I said, if I were to pick a movie that would go on a to watch list, a most definite must watch, kind of like October movie kind of thing, it wouldn't be high up there. Like, it probably wouldn't even take a space next to the original. But it was okay. So, this one kind of gives a slight backstory to the Sanderson sisters. It starts off like in the 1600s when they're teenagers, and Winnie is 16, and at that time period they think she should be married off, and they end up wanting to take her sisters. They run into the woods, they meet this witch, and that's where they meet Book, and it kind of goes into them basically becoming witches and stuff, and moves to the present day, which is 2023. And there are these 3 friends, and they usually do this birthday ritual, and this year one of them doesn't really want to, I guess, participate. She's more into this party that she's throwing that her parents aren't supposed to know. So the 2 friends, they go off to do the birthday celebration without her. It's not her birthday, it's one of the other 2. So there's 3 friends. Like I said, I can't remember their names right now. But anyways, they really like this one magic shop, and the one girl whose birthday it is and the other friend, they go to this magic shop, and they're kind of friends with the owner. He is kind of obsessed with the Sanderson sisters, and it turns out that something that he gave them, he kind of did it. I don't think this is a spoiler because, it's kind of in the beginning of the movie, basically. But sorry if it is. One of the gifts he gives them ends up bringing them back because he finds them to be misunderstood. Like I said, he's pretty obsessed with them, but of course that gets him into a lot of trouble. And so the movie basically is about them being reawakened in 2023, and the more updated things that they experience versus the first movie, which I think was made in like 93, and how people have to handle them now. I just thought that it kind of lacked the humor and somewhat of the imagination of the original. I like that, we have a diverse cast. I like how they try to make humor out of some newer things like Rambas and other things, but I just don't feel that humor had the same charm as the original. Like I said, not bad. It just seemed to be kind of lacking. It's between lacking some of what that had in the original movie, and I don't know, it felt like there should have been more to it. It felt incomplete. I felt we could have gotten better backstories on the sisters, and I don't know, maybe more about the characters in this movie. I just felt that it was kind of hollow in a way. But I'd say go give it a try. The second movie that I watched, which was 2 hours and something, I watched a Little Mermaid remake. So, much like Hocus Pocus 2, this one seemed to lack emotion in a way. And the thing about this one is they repeat things, and it seems like they're going to set up great backstory, and they just don't. So, of course, it follows the storyline much like the original. There is Ariel, who's a mermaid, and she is obsessed with the human world. She meets Prince Eric, and she goes to Ursula to turn her into a human. There are some things that are almost directly from the original animated movie, like some of the songs. And she has a good voice, the actress. And I've watched, other reviews and stuff that, kind of point where the best thing about the movie might have been the actress that plays Ariel. I know there was a lot of controversy and stuff. People didn't like the fact that she was, a person of color playing this character, which I don't know why you would get mad at the race of somebody playing a mythological creature. I hate when people bring up the whole, well, it's originally a Danish story. You didn't have a problem with the fact that, she wasn't Danish in the movie, in the animated movie. Just because she's white, don't you mean she was Danish, okay? Ariel had an American accent, and then there was Sebastian and other characters who didn't really exist in the short story to begin with, and they were all multicultural things, and it just bugs me because people didn't have a problem with that kind of stuff then. And the actress they picked was good. I mean, I think she embodied the character, the personality of Ariel very well. I thought the other characters were portrayed very well by their actors too. The only problem is that I felt it lacked that really hard-hitting, in-depth emotion and emotional expression and reaction that the animated characters had. For instance, when Triton finds her cave of human stuff, in the animated movie, it's kind of a big scene between his anger and her sadness and anger after what happens. And it's kind of loud for an animated kids movie. It kind of was. And very, like I said, angry and just big on emotions. And it felt like in that scene that both characters just, like I said, it felt that they could have really been good for the characters. For the most part, they were. But it felt like those really big, impactful scenes were just like they ran out of energy when they were acting them, or they were just holding back. That's what it felt like. And I don't know if it had to be as long as it was. It had great imagery. We got a couple of new songs. Eric's was kind of short, but I like that addition to it. You know, I like that we got a little bit more backstory with Eric, and you know, it's different in this movie. Because in this one, he isn't like a prince by birth, he's adopted and stuff. And so he's got his own story, which I thought was interesting. And of course, they bring up about Ariel's mother being killed by people. That's why Triton doesn't like them. And, you know, I thought that they could have had an opportunity to show and talk more about Ariel's mother and the relationship between her and her mother and her mother and her father. And, you know, maybe how her mother felt about humans and being queen of the sea and all that other stuff. And, you know, we just didn't get any of that. I think in the animated movie, like one of the sequels, they talk about her mom, but I would figure they would have done it here, especially since it's brought up a couple of times about her mother and why she's not allowed to go to the surface and stuff like that. In this one, I don't think it was in any of the animated movies, because I remember, like, in the sequel, Ursula has a sister, but they don't make any references, I don't believe, of her and Triton being related. But in this movie, Ursula and Triton, King Triton, are brother and sister, basically. And they didn't really explore that, except that she's resentful of her brother and everything, and obviously she wants to rule the sea. But it just felt like there were storylines that they could have went into and made this a more interesting movie, had a lot more emotion going and stuff, and it just felt like they just dragged certain scenes out instead of just like telling a different version of this. That's the problem with the live action movies, is there's some differences, but there's really not enough to make them anything special. I didn't hate this movie. Like I said, I just thought it lacked, and it was too long for what it was. But other than that, I enjoyed it. If I had nothing else to watch, I might put that on. Anyways, that is my movie wrap-up for the week. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.